Hello and welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. My name is Denise Belisle and I'm a serenity expert. My guest today is another Denise, so I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a second. But first, I want to tell you why I call this show It's All Good. It's mainly because of my favorite cup. It says It's All Good. And and it's also something that I bought the cup first and then I realized that that's my way of being in my life. Whatever happened, I'm always looking at the bright side and say it's all good. I don't say that I don't pout a little, but I get over it very quickly and then I'm able to move on and look at the gift in that situation. If something doesn't go my way and I'm thinking, okay, that's shitty, but what can I gain from that? What have I learned from that experience? And then I'm looking for those gem and those gifts, and I move on and I look for the new opportunities. And the thing is, when something shitty happen, well, right away it's something of the past, and we all know we can't change the past. So all we can do is move on and move forward. And as something for the future, we cannot project ourselves in the future. We can anticipate, we can plan, but things will happen just the way they will happen. So when it happens and it's not the way you had planned, you adapt. You say, "Hey, it's all good," and then you move on. You make you make that situation the best you can. And the more you are in the present, living today and appreciate every instant and living with gratitude, the happier you will get. So my guest today, as I mentioned, or before we go there, before I go there, I would love for you to look at my YouTube channel and subscribe. It's Denise Belisle. It's at Denise Belisle on YouTube. So youtube.com/ at Denise Belisle. And you'll see all my previous interviews that I've had. I've had over 100 interviews. And I'm super excited that every week I have amazing guests. And some interviews are absolutely amazing and some are extraordinary. And you can also, if you want to be on the show, or after hearing this interview, and you say, "Hey, I'd love to talk with Denise about something," you can book a call with me, and I would be happy just to meet with you. Maybe you can be one of my future guests, and maybe we can just talk about things that you're going through if you need some help with something. So now it's time for welcome my guest. My guest is Denise Eckert, and she's a host of the Relaxation Lounge. So that's super exciting. So let's welcome Denise. Welcome, Denise. I'm super happy to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here today. I love the work that you do.
Thank you. We work also in mentally in similar ways, about relaxation, eliminating stress, helping people, deal with the issues in their life. So tell me a little bit about your path to where you are now and how you got there with the Relaxation Lounge.
Well, in my background, I experienced burnout a lot because
Mhm.
I was raised in a culture where the busier you were, it indicated how successful you were. So I was always, here's busy, and I would be above busy. And it was crazy because it was in the end, I would work, be busy, busy, busy until I got sick. Then I had to take time off,
Yeah.
and I kept doing the same thing over and over again. And when at one point my doctor did tell me I needed to slow down, but I didn't know how. I had no idea. I was not
Uh-huh.
aware of meditation. I was not aware of any type of relaxation practices. So I went down the rabbit hole with that. I became a coach. I really didn't like the coaching aspect, but in doing that, introduced to hypnotherapy, which I
Mhm.
became certified with. But it wasn't something I wanted to do all day either. And I fell in love with tapping. Like EFT is one of my favorites because I'm one of these people that cannot slow down enough to do meditation. So
Mhm.
when you're tapping, you're talking to yourself, you're moving, you're touching.
Yeah.
So you're keeping your brain going. And then I'm thinking, okay, I've got a podcast as well. And I was meeting some amazing practitioners globally, and I wanted a way of introducing the world to different kinds of practices. So when someone needs to take a break, reduce their stress, that they have a little library of different things that they can use. So here I am.
Oh,
Now I'm
that's great. So that's the Relaxation Lounge.
yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so how, like, tell me a little bit about this relaxation lounge. So how did you end up like building that? So what brought you the idea of building a relaxation lounge?
Well, as I said, I wanted to introduce different practices because even
Mm-hmm.
in meditation, there's so many different styles and so many different ways you can do meditation, and also different practitioners. Like you can resonate with one practitioner, not another, or just having that variety. So at first, I created a membership, but then basically, I was forcing women to go online on a website, and I want to get them away from the computer. I don't want them more on the computer.
Yeah.
And that's when I've decided to create a mobile app. So now
Mm.
you can take that mobile app, you can sit outside, you can listen to a meditation, you can do
Yeah.
stretching exercises, you can do all sorts of different practices. And it just gives you that, because I believe with stress, once you start noticing that you are feeling stressed out, stop. Because if you keep going down that rabbit hole or keep spinning that hamster wheel, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get upset. You're going to get tired, fatigued, and you're going to start making mistakes. And then with what happens with that, it doesn't do you any good, because once you start making mistakes, then you got to go back and fix them. So you're not saving yourself any time. But if you take the 10 minutes or 5 minutes, even, or 15 minutes, and just step back and regroup, it makes all the difference. I didn't know that when I was younger, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And because some people believe that being able to eliminate stress and all that, you have to sit in a lotus pose for an hour. And people say, I don't have time to do that, right? But it doesn't have to take an hour, right? So tell us about the benefit of the relaxation practice, which doesn't take an hour.
Well, what you're doing is you're switching your brain. Like, if just say you're doing a heavy accounting spreadsheet and you're looking at numbers, looking at numbers, looking at numbers. Well, what I suggest is find a like an obvious place to take a pause,
Mm,
step back, give yourself that break, and then you can go back to it and you'll feel so much better. Like, it just makes all the difference rather
yeah.
than pushing, pushing, pushing. And I don't know, like, I find our generation seems to, we push and then we push too hard. And then our brain also starts telling us, oh, we're stressed out. Oh, we don't have the time. And that is crap, because you know what? We all have 5 minutes where we can sit down and do something else. And even if you don't want to do something else or even do a practice, go up and do the dishes, get up and do the laundry,
Yeah.
just do something different. And it just makes all the difference in our lives.
Hmm. Hmm. You talk about tapping earlier. So does all your relaxation techniques in your apps are related to tapping, or there's a whole bunch of different ways that people can relax?
There's all a variety. And I mean, I'm always adding new ones. Like, there's Qigong, there's stretching, there's meditation, there's EFT, there's journaling, there's visualization, there's breathing techniques. Yeah, it's quite the variety. And that's what I wanted, was not just one practice. So if, just say, you feel energetic, there'll be something for you that's more energetic. If you want to just relax and just, be quiet, then there's a whole bunch of different kinds of meditation too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's Reiki, there's, as I said, it's a pretty extensive list, and I'll be adding to it, constantly, which I
Yeah.
love doing.
Yeah. So it means that once you sign up, then you can look at your favorite one, but then you can browse and see what else is out there because there's always new one, right?
Absolutely. And what I've done too is that I've created it so that there is a introduction. So if you want to know the background of the practice or the benefits of the practice, there's an introductory video. And then there's the practice. And what I wanted to do with that, because I know if you look for practices on YouTube, a lot of times you have to go through the introduction, you have to go through all that, blah, blah, blah. And I understand I'm catering to busy women, so there's no blah blah blah. It goes straight to the practice. If you want to learn more about the practice, there's information there that you can find out more,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's straight to the point, like very quick and easy to use, actually.
Yeah, so if they want, let's say they start to do, we'll take tapping, but it's not all tapping. But if you want to start doing tapping, you'll have an introduction to tapping on its own.
Yes.
And then once you want to practice it, then you go into that solution with the tapping and then you're right into it. That's what you were explaining, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
So,
there's no.
like for someone who's never done tapping before, they should watch the intro
Mm-hmm.
because I explain the points and
Yeah,
what you're doing and, how to work it through.
yeah.
But once we know tapping, like they're
You don't
all,
need the introduction. You
no,
don't need.
exactly. You know what you're doing and, you are following it as a guided tapping. But
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, like even with the tapping, I've got a lot of different kinds of tapping on there. And I always encourage people when they're doing tapping, if something doesn't resonate with you, say your own words, like,
yeah, yeah.
because we're all
And,
different. So.
yeah, absolutely. And do you have also other contributors that are bringing different type of meditation in your app or different type of modality within your app? Or
Well,
it's you do all of them?
no, that's the great thing. I do some of them, but no, I have, over the last 2 years that I've done my podcasts, and my big thing is I interview a lot of people that have different practices
Mm-hmm.
to introduce my audience to different things that they can do to, relax or to just reduce their stress. And so basically, yeah, I mean, I have a woman from Hawaii doing chocolate clearing.
Yeah.
I've got people from all over the world doing different practices and different things. So it's very diverse. It's
Nice.
very lots of variety. And I think I've got about 35 different practices on there right now, but I
Yeah.
will constantly be growing that.
Wow, that's pretty good. And but how often should people do relaxation practice? Like, is it something you do in the morning when you wake up, or is it something you do before the bed, before you to set your night, or how, when and how do people do that?
Okay, one of the things is yes, it's always good to do something in the morning because when you come out of your sleep, you're you're becoming coming into you're in your subconscious going into more of your conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And in that point, please don't go on your phone and check the news or start jumping into emails and getting pissed off at something. Give yourself that time. It doesn't have to be long, even 10 minutes, just to slowly get yourself awake. Even if you're having that nice morning coffee, just give yourself that time. Don't jump into things. And during the day, what I like to do is, like, if you've got a big project that you're working on, take that project and chunk it down to bite-sized pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have a bite-sized piece done, congratulate yourself and then give yourself a little break, you know?
Yeah.
So you can, I don't really like, some people say, oh yeah, schedule it into your calendar. But to me, that's creating stress. Like, so if
Yeah.
I'm looking at my
It's like,
calendar,
oh, I gotta relax right now. I
no,
don't have time.
yeah. Oh wait, I'm late for my relaxation. No, like there's natural stopping points in our work.
Yeah, of course, there's transition, right? Like, I mean, between, like we know, like it's not predictable. You're at a point,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, now I'm flipping the page. And it's like, oh, okay, let's take a 5 minutes right now, right?
exactly. But it's a thing that we need to train ourselves to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it, as I said, like it doesn't have to be long. It can be 5 minutes. And on my app as well, I've got all the practices, and right on the front, I've got how long it takes. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've got 10 minutes, some of them maybe 15, 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
a lot of them are very short. And when you chunk your work down into natural bite-sized pieces, take that little break in between, do a practice, and that's a great idea, because you're working like that naturally. If you feel yourself getting stressed out or frustrated, just walk away, do a practice, switch things up, give yourself a rest, And then when you go back, you're looking at it with new eyes.
Yeah.
So you're not walking back into a project going, ripping your hair out. No. And a lot of times when you walk away, I find myself, you come up with better ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Then you think, okay, because now you've walked away, you're going, oh, maybe I should try doing it this way. Rather than being too upfront with your project and pushing it and pushing it. Well, maybe the universe is telling you to step back because there's an easier way of doing it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
And then at the end of the day, a lot of times it's nice to do something. I'm going to be actually adding a sleep section on there
Mm-hmm.
so that, and just doing, as you say, like living with gratitude, doing a simple gratitude practice when you go to bed, or
Mm-hmm.
doing a nice meditation, just to express that gratefulness that you have with what you've
Mm-hmm.
got.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference in our world rather than looking at the negatives.
Yeah. I found that, in general, I found that first thing in the morning and when you go to bed, these are two very important moments in my life, right? Because when I wake up, that's when I decide whether I'm waking up on the right side of the bed or the wrong side of the bed. Because that's what we say, right? Oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But we have the choice, right? We have the choice to decide if we're going to have an awesome day or if we're going to have a miserable day. So the first one in the morning, I find it very useful because even if you wake up and you don't feel that great and all that, but then you can say to yourself, okay, I don't feel super good today, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to move into this day with the idea that even though I'm not 100%, I'll do the best of my 75 if I have to, right? And and then you set your day, you see yourself, like I love Brendan Bouchard with high performance habit. And what he says in there is, what he does is in the shower in the morning, you get up, grab your shower, and what he does is he see his day as it's coming. He knows his agenda, he knows who he's meeting, the type of people he will meet, and then he kind of go and fast forward into all these meetings and anticipate the outcomes that he wants to have out of those meetings. So that's what setting your day is about, right? Being grateful for everything you have. And same at night, right? That's very important because what do most people do before they go to bed?
Yeah.
Or watch the news and then turn off the TV, and then they try to go to bed and say, I have insomnia. It's like, no wonder,
Yeah.
right? Like I usually take a good 15 minutes and I just relax, say I'm going to have a great night's sleep. Tomorrow will be awesome. I'm so grateful that I have a warm bed to sleep in. Like I go to my gratitude and then I set myself to sleep. And when it's time, I feel it. I feel my body relaxing, and I have a moment where I know, okay, now I'm ready to go to bed. And then I usually do my visualization on my back, then I turn on my side, and then within a second I'm gone, right? Like I can't even remember after I put my head on the side of the pillow that how long it takes, because it's usually instantaneous. But because I set myself, I've tucked myself in some ways, right? Like so that I found that those two are the most important for sure.
Well, and you're making yourself feel safe too. Like
Yeah.
doing those practices that you mentioned, you're making yourself feel safe. And so it's safe to go to sleep now.
Yeah.
And it's time to relax. And
Yeah.
it's a very nice practice to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also accepting that there are things that you didn't finish during the day. You can't do it when you're sleeping. So put them in a drawer, and say, okay, I'm complete right now. Like I have another lady, she talks about completion at the end of the day or at the end of activities. I'm complete right now. There's nothing more I can do with what I wanted to do today. And if needed, I'll work on it tomorrow. Right. But right now, that's not the time, you know? Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, I know some of us, when we are in the middle of, like, I used to do conference planning, and that was a little bit crazy. And so sometimes when I was just about to sleep, or I was sleeping and I woke up and I forgot to do something, I would have a notebook beside my bed and I would write down the things
Yeah.
that I forgot to do because, yeah, they're going to be bothering me. And then what's nice is almost like you dump it out of your
Yeah.
head,
Oh yeah, I've done
So
that.
yeah, and it's gone. You don't have to worry about remembering it.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. All these little tricks that you can do.
Yeah, I've done that also. Exactly the same, except not beside my bed. But then I woke up and I said, okay, I'm thinking about, oh, I want to do that tomorrow. I have to remember to do that. I said, no, let's get up, write it down, go back to sleep. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's why journaling before going to bed, also people have been doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm not a big journaler. I don't know. I don't like writing.
Mm.
I don't know. I've done a lot of painting in my life, and my hands, like, I just don't like writing anymore. But you know what? I just talk to myself.
Yeah, yeah, no, it works the same, right? Because some people find it very therapeutic too. I'm not a big journaler either, but I know it can be useful for the
Yeah.
people with whom can help. So I always suggest it. And but so how do you see people because you created that happen? I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
So, and how do you see people being able to implement that throughout the day? Like I know you talked about, when it comes to time, take a break. But what would be your best suggestion? Let's say people now they download their app and I imagine it's a paid app that people, to sign up and they have access to all these amazing tools and new tools coming up all the time. And how would you suggest, like, for them do you have like a notification in the apps, or do you have different things to remind them to use it? Because I know I have probably 150 app on my phone that I never use, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work for people to remember that they have that app and for them to use it?
I don't know. I'm a little bit wary to put notifications on because we get many
Yeah,
notifications in our lives. But I do have it organized as, here's some morning routine ideas. Here's, break ideas.
yeah,
Here's, like, if you are feeling stressed right now, these are instant stress relief ideas. So, I mean, it's just putting that stress relief on your front burner,
yeah,
really, and
yeah.
it's a tool. So rather than going to YouTube where you're going to be seeing ads and you're going to be seeing introductions and
Of
blah, blah,
course.
blah. And I don't know, or, it's getting that variety. And that's what my goal was, is to get that variety of different things so that, there's times where I like doing EFT and others times it's not my thing that day.
Yeah,
So I want to do something else, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I just really don't want to do notifications. I might in the future.
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I
And
guess I feel the same as putting your breaks on the schedule. Like, to me, I put time in between projects rather than putting my breaks on the schedule.
yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. And who is the ideal person to join the lounge, the relaxation lounge?
Well, it is geared to women
Okay.
that are more any age, really. Like, it is geared towards women. The women that are Most of the women that are presenting on the app are, my age and around my age and up. So it's not glitzy, like, I find with the younger generation, they want glitzy and the fancy music and all that. It's not that. It's very simple. So I think it's someone who just wants something more simple, like, not so complicated in life.
Mm-hmm. And is there a way to access the app through the desktop or laptop as well as their phone?
Yes, there will be. Yeah. Because
Okay.
it's a web app. Yeah.
So it's being developed right now.
Yes.
Great. That's good because sometimes you just want to load it up in your phone, in the computer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
how much does it cost?
Well, I haven't really come up with a price yet because it hasn't really, at this moment, hasn't been released.
Okay.
It will be released sometime in September.
A
So,
pre-launch. We're
yeah,
having a pre-launch right now. Woohoo!
exactly. Yeah, it's not going to be expensive. I mean, I'm going more on quantity, then um, I want to make it accessible for a lot of
For a lot
people.
of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started to come out weird, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's more like being able to be accessible to the majority of people as opposed to, oh, I don't know if I can afford that amount of money every month. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'll have to pass, right? I need the relaxation, but I can afford to be relaxed. So I totally understand that for sure. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. And it's not interactive. It's basically a directory of practices.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no chat. There's not going to be a community, because I found working with women that are stressed out, their biggest thing is, I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And that's one of their biggest things. So they're not the type of women, because a lot of the women that are my audience are women who are entrepreneurs or busy business owners, that when they do have time to themselves, hopefully they're spending it doing what they want to do or spending
Yeah.
time with their family, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want them sitting into community chats talking about stress. And people don't like talking about stress. I really found that at the beginning when I started doing the coaching, because we feel like failures.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, of
know,
course, of course.
if we start getting help for stress or start telling people that we need help because we are stressed out, we feel like failures and we don't want to admit that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a really hard um, stigma for that's out there. And
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but it was to the point where when I was doing coaching, like you couldn't even get people to ask their family for help. And meanwhile, the person's ready to go crazy because they're just so overwhelmed and
Yeah.
so busy. But people don't know what that person's going through because they haven't shared that.
Yeah.
No one really knows what's on your plate unless you share it with someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that it is a mental health stigma that's there. And hopefully one of these days that will change. But
Yeah, it's hard. People feel that first they feel that they don't want to be troublesome, right? Like,
mhm,
you know, because they hear other people complain and they feel that whenever they have to express how they feel, that, it's going to be like the other people that are complaining all the time. No
yeah,
one wants to hear that. But at the same time, I just want to push the point that it's important that if you need help, that you do ask for help, because you would be surprised that I've interviewed someone a few months back, and we were talking about the fact that you're not alone, right? Like you think that I'm the only one going through this, but you're not, right?
yeah,
You'll be surprised. People say, "Yeah, I totally understand," right? I'm there, or I've been there, and it's okay to ask for help too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just to just start implementing practices or time alone, or just even sitting in silence, just doing breathing techniques,
yeah,
just to lower that stress. Like, I'm talking stress that we build up during the day. I'm
yeah,
not talking about this stress or that stress, because there are different kinds of stress. And I understand that sometimes, we have a lot going on our plates. Like, for instance, if you're dealing with elderly parents and you've got kids that are in trouble in school and stuff like that.
and you're going through a divorce, and
Yeah.
your
Those
job's
kind
on
of,
the line, and it's like, oh my god,
exactly. But what I'm trying to get across to people is that when you start feeling that stress, and we all know what it feels like, because for me, it's in the stomach,
yeah,
and I always feel upset with my stomach.
yeah,
When you start feeling like that, just do a practice.
yeah,
Do something really simple. It doesn't have to take long, and it will make a difference in your life.
yeah, yeah. I totally understand how the app will work, because with positive intelligence, we do have an app also, right? And we have little reps to do, which is similar. Like, it's kind of, but the more we call it, like, we have a battery. We actually, on the app, we have a little sign of battery, and the more you do the rep, your battery is getting fuller. And the more you keep your battery full, the better you'll be equipped to deal with those little stressors during the day, than if your battery is totally empty all the time, and then you just refill it, right? But so the idea is to do those regularly, even if you feel that you're not like on the edge of of the precipice, but just take a break, right? Between activities, take a 2 5 minute break, relax, close your eyes. Even just now, I close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, and I already see my energy like.
Yeah.
So, well, mind you, I've done that for 40 years, but but it's something you can build on, right? It's something you can learn and something you can practice. And the more you do it, the easier you'll go from to here,
Yeah.
right? It's just do it every day and build a practice between activities or in transition. Like, for example, if you have to drive in traffic to go to an appointment, once you're parked, do a 2 minutes, do a 5 minutes, and I'll shift your energy from the tension of driving the car in traffic into putting yourself at ease to move into the meeting you're going to. And that'll change the outcome of that meeting because now your energy is better, right? So that's what the app is there for.
Yes. Absolutely. That's exactly. Yeah.
So for them to use it. So how people find that app and can reach you, let's look at that. So how to reach you? Well, if you go to relaxationlounge.info, that's where you'll have all the information about the app, and you will be able to, I imagine people can reach you there, book a call with you, or ask you question.
Yep.
So once
And
you're in
then
there,
any social media, it's the
yeah,
Relaxation Lounge. So it's pretty, I kept it
perfect.
pretty across the board.
Consistent around the board. Well, that's perfect. So go explore that and keep your eyes open for the launch so that you can be, the founding member of that, that app, so that you'll know in 10 years from now when it's super popular and Deepak doing relationship relaxation on her app, then you'll say, hey, I was there when she started,
Yeah.
you know. And then and you have a gift also, so when that's being launched, then people can have a 7-day free trial.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
can they sign up to a newsletter or something so that they have or an email that they know when it's becoming alive? So how do people know?
Yeah, actually, they can go to the relaxationlounge.info, and I do have a waiting list there. And
All
then
right,
once it's, they can sign up for my email because I do all sorts of different things. Usually send out an email once a week with different tips and
wonderful.
techniques. Yeah.
That's great. So I think like I look forward, like I might have, let's stop that. Here you go. So I might have to invite you again once the app is up and running, and then you can give us, a little demo. It's like, hey, that's what you do and all that, so that we know what
Well,
how that works. Yeah, yeah, I'd love to do that. So maybe give you a few months to get it running, and maybe in the new year I can have you again, and then we can do a hands-on demo of how that works. That would
awesome.
be
That would be
awesome.
great. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Denise, for being here. And I wish you great success with this app because it's so needed. And people need those little break, those little, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and even 15, 20 minutes if they have the time for that. And just take yourself, for me, self-care is the most important in everybody's life. And,
Yeah.
that's why they say in the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. And it's the same in your daily lives. You have to take care of yourself first. Too often women are on to-do lists. It's like, have a warm bath. It's like on the back of the sheet, right? There's no room at the bottom of the to-do list. So put yourself back on the top. And I was talking to one of my clients today, and that's what we were saying, right? Book that time in your calendar, like to take care of yourself, and
Yeah.
then everybody else around you will be so much better for it.
Yeah, exactly. And it, makes a difference in our health, our welfare, like everything. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show.
It
I
was a
love it.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. So just stay there. I'll be back with you. I'll just say goodbye to everyone. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I hope you'll take Denise up on her 7-day trial, sign up for a waiting list until the app is absolutely 100% ready. And then you can try for 7 days. And I'm sure you'll love it. And you might, want to sign up and use it. The thing with these things is that we sign up and then we forget, but making a habit, building a habit, it's like brushing your teeth. You do wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, right? So Same time, you could listen to that initially while you brush your teeth, or do different things like that to support stacking habits, so that you do the same thing with the app. So keep watching. Every week I'm here. So I have a little gift for you also. I've been working with empty nesters, and I have built a checklist, especially right now, the new school, kids have gone to school. We're working on our new schedule. Sometime we have kids that have left for college, and then we find ourselves that the house a bit too big for ourselves. We miss the noise of those kids as much as it could be annoying when they're there, but when they're not there, we miss it. And I have a checklist to starting over a checklist. How can you rebuild yourself? And self-care is very important in that checklist, so go download it. It's starting over a checklist from bit.ly. And again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go watch all my other episodes, and book a call with me if you want to have a talk and understand more about your own life and moving forward, or if you want to be on the show. So book a call with me. I'd love to have you. So until next time, be kind to one another, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.